Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Doctor Who Daily. Now, yesterday, some huge news was revealed that Sony will have a majority stake very soon of Bad Wolf Productions. Who or what are Bad Wolf Productions, Mick? Wasn't Bad Wolf part of a story arc in the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who? Yes, but there's also a production company owned by Jane Tranton and Julie Garner, which will be producing the brand new RTD2, the brand new era of Russell T Davies' Doctor Who run coming in 2023. Yes, Bad Wolf Productions will be producing Doctor Who alongside Russell T Davies. Now, I told you when this news broke and Russell was announced to be returning to Doctor Who with Bad Wolf Productions, that Bad Wolf Productions and Russell T Davies had wrestled control away from the BBC of Doctor Who. I believe that to be a fact with my knowledge and connections in the industry, but a few months prior to this shock announcement, when Piers Wenger said that Doctor Who would dramatically change, I did make a prediction that the BBC could sell off Doctor Who in all its sum parts to an American studio. And because they recently did a deal with HBO Max, giving them exclusive coverage of Doctor Who in America for their streaming service, I believe that maybe Warner Brothers may want to buy Doctor Who in its entirety, but with Sony very soon to have a majority stake in Bad Wolf Productions, I predict by 2023 that Sony could buy the Doctor Who IP. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that the BBC will just collect the money for Doctor Who, and that's it. From 2023, whatever happens, the BBC will no longer have any authority over Doctor Who. They were on their knees, and you know, basically Doctor Who was a lamb to the slaughter. It was there for the taking, because when you make decisions like what the BBC and Chris Chibnall have done creatively, and you know, destroyed the show in many people's eyes, this is what happens. I've said before, it doesn't matter if you choose a female doctor or a minority kind of actor to play the Doctor. It's not about that. It's about your creative decisions. And you know, Chris Chibnall's creative decisions, or lack thereof, have destroyed the show. You see, the kind of people you want to attract by casting a female version of the Doctor, or by underwhelming audiences, are not going to hold your IP up. They're not going to buy the merch. They're not going to tune in every week. They're not going to buy the DVDs, the t-shirts, the Blu-rays, Doctor Who magazine, all of that. They're not going to support you. And the BBC and even the cast and people making Chibnall's Doctor Who made it absolutely clear that the passionate fan base that have always held Doctor Who up was not welcome any longer. It's as simple as that. I remember Bradley Walsh in the car with the other members of the cast, Jodie Whittaker, Mandip, you know, and all the other cast members are saying we're welcoming the brand new fans that will be coming along. And there was an underlining kind of temper there, wasn't there? There was an underlining thing that we're only interested in brand new fans, and we're rejecting the current fan base, because the current fan base are men in their 20s, 30s and 40s and 50s. We don't want them. That's the problem with the extreme left. In a lot of cases, their hearts are in the right place, but they don't know how to talk, and they also don't like, and I hate to say this, straight white males. Shouldn't we? Isn't representation and inclusion about representing and including everyone? They wanted to disqualify these people, the fans that held up the IP for so many years, and say that we didn't matter anymore and what we wanted didn't matter anymore. All Doctor Who fans have ever wanted is for the Doctor to be represented in the right way. The way the Doctor's always been represented, not in terms of race or gender or things like that, but in terms of what the character is and what the universe is. But the issue has been that those fans were driven away from the IP, and they have seen the consequences of that. So basically what happened was, Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf Productions knew that the IP was there for the taking. Russell T Davies would never have returned just to work with the BBC, although we spoke about this the other day, how he loves the BBC, how he argued with the brand new culture secretary from the government about her anti-BBC stance and her, and her proclamations that she thinks the BBC needs to change, and he loves them, he says, but he doesn't love them as much as you think he does. Once he was asked about making a Doctor Who movie, and we'll talk about that and Stephen Moffat a little bit later on today's show, and he always said, and he said at the time, he would never make a Doctor Who movie with the BBC, and that's very, very interesting. So he has his little issues with the BBC himself, and so this is what I'm telling you, that they saw that Doctor Who was there for the taking, that Doctor Who was dying, so they wanted to take it and rebuild it and remold the clay and make it a great show. Make it the great show that Russell T Davies did from the beginning of the revival, and this is the plan. So Russell T Davies, Julie Gardner and Jane Tranton will be able to mould Doctor Who any way they want. This is why Bad Wolf Productions is involved, because I'm sure you're asking the interesting question that I did from the beginning. Why do we need Bad Wolf? You've got Russell, you've got the BBC. What are they doing? Because they're going to take control of Doctor Who. Now, people can deny this as much as they want, but Doctor Who right now, it's on its knees. This brilliant marketing thing they're doing right now for Series 13 and all of that will bring some people in, but not enough. People have lost faith in Doctor Who. The people who loved it for all these years, who even loved the revival under RTD and Moffat, have had enough, because they saw their show taken over by someone who was dismantling what Doctor Who was. As I say, it's not about who you cast. It's not about Jodie Whittaker. It's about the writing. Chris Chibnall decided to make a bland Doctor Who series with a bland Doctor and bland, underdeveloped companions, and that's the fact. And he has destroyed the IP. Someone on Twitter just said, can it be rebuilt? Will Chibnall leave anything to be rebuilt? Listen, you can demolish a building, but you can rebuild it. You can remold that clay, and I have no qualms about that, or no doubts about that. I've been very relaxed about the Chibnall era once I heard that Bad Wolf Productions and Russell T Davies were taking over from 2023. I trust Julie Gardner and Jane Tranter and Russell T Davies implicitly, and I think they will make the right decisions for Doctor Who. If they want Ollie Alexander to be the next Doctor, I'm absolutely fine. Now, I don't know if Ollie is gay, straight, bi, I don't care about any of that. But if that's good representation, and Ollie's a great actor and a great lad. He's full of personality, and his ability to project a character onto the screen is wonderful, and it'd be great for the young kids as well. I think Ollie Alexander would be a great choice. I know some of you may think I'm wrong. That's okay to think I'm wrong. By the way, we must get away from trying to destroy people who don't agree with us. This is a platform, this is a YouTube channel that says to anyone, you don't have to agree with me, but don't hate me because I'm not like you. Don't hate me because I don't have the same stances as you. Let's be friends. Let's agree to disagree. Let's have a debate, but let's not call each other names. Let's not say, oh, Mick, you've got a bald head and a bump there and a big nose and thick eyebrows. We don't like you. Just accept that we're different. This is the problem with society today. This was the problem from the moment they cast a female Doctor. Doctor Who fans were at civil war with each other, and outside entities who came in to support Doctor Who for political reasons were attacking us, and we were attacking them. This will not do. And the wrestling of control away from the BBC of Doctor Who takes all that away. People keep on asking me, is Russell T Davies woke? A word I can't stand. Well, he's not as woke as Chris Chibnall, but he loves to, put forward the LGBTQ community. After all, he's a gay man, and there's nothing wrong with that. He experienced a lot of hard times in the 80s, with AIDS and all of those things. I grew up during the the AIDS era where, you know, where gay people were treated disgustingly. And he's made dramas about that and done a good job. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with being on the left side of the argument. But everything can't be about identity politics and left versus right. This is about entertainment. And if you want to represent and be inclusive, I welcome that. I welcome the first female doctor. I believed in Jodie because of her performances in Broadchurch, and she wasn't given the clay to mould or the stage to perform on, and that's despicable. And this is the reason why Doctor Who is on its knees now. But we need to talk about the Sony element. Now, I saw this coming, as I mentioned earlier. I foresaw the BBC selling off Doctor Who, if not portions of Doctor Who, to an American studio. Now, Sony has been after Doctor Who for quite a while. Now, cast your minds back to the Stephen Moffat era. Sony wanted, in conjecture, in partnership with the BBC, to make a Doctor Who movie. In fact, they went as far as to recruit Harry Potter scribe director David Yates to direct the movie, and there was even rumours that it would be an origin story. This was unprecedented. The Who fandom went absolutely nuts. They did not want to see a movie. I'd love to see an epic Doctor Who movie, by the way, and David Yates would have done a great job. But Stephen Moffat said no, being a die-hard fan, and I'll read you some things he said later on in the DW magazine, because I think it just sums up the man, what a big fan he is, and I love him. But he said, no, if you do this, I go. There can never be a Doctor Who movie unless the current incumbent of the TARDIS, Matt Smith it was back then, leads that film. And that's not what they wanted. They wanted a younger guy, they wanted to tell an origin story, and, you know, Stephen Moffat didn't believe in it because he's like us. So once he threatened to quit, it wasn't happening. And as you know, it hasn't happened. Is it a good thing if, you know, because what will happen is Sony probably won't buy Doctor Who, but I think, you know, Bad Wolf Productions will via the money from Sony. I think that's what will happen. So who is Jane Tranton and Julie Garner? Julie Garner was head of BBC Wales drama department when Doctor Who, the revival, was green-lit. And because Russell T Davies was Welsh, they made it predominantly in Wales, and it's beautiful. Wales is a beautiful place to make stuff. I've been there before. You know, I've been involved with productions there before. It's a beautiful place, and that was a great idea. Now, Jane Tranton was a big hitter with the BBC, and that's the person that needed to greenlight Doctor Who for the BBC, and that's who Russell went to. So Russell has a great relationship with these two women, these two titans of the industry. They're very good people. They're very intelligent people. Julie Gardner was great as the executive producer of Doctor Who. One of them, we had Phil Collinson, you know, Julie Gardner and Russell himself. It was a great era, and their involvement proves how good they are. So as I say, I trust these people implicitly. So it wouldn't be Sony that would own Doctor Who. I believe it would be Sony in conjunction with Bad Wolf Productions. I think ultimately Bad Wolf Productions will own Doctor Who with Sony money. This is a big thing. So what is the motivation of Sony buying Bad Wolf Productions? Well, listen to me. This isn't a fluke. This is not an accident. As I say, I predicted this. They've been after Doctor Who. Why do you think they're interested in Bad Wolf Productions? Bad Wolf Productions have been behind some great British productions thus far. They're a great company. This is not just about Doctor Who, so they would want them because they're a great production company, and they'd want them in their armoury. But they're after Doctor Who. So if basically they're going to own, very soon or next year in 2022, they will own about an 80% stake in Bad Wolf Productions. That means the company belongs to Sony. That means if Bad Wolf Productions want to own the Doctor Who IP with Sony money, they can buy it. So if Bad Wolf Productions own Doctor Who, it will be owned by Bad Wolf Productions, but kind of, you could say, it's owned by Sony as well. But Sony wouldn't go out and buy Doctor Who outright. Now, does the BBC want to sell off Doctor Who? I think what may happen, they may lease it out officially to Bad Wolf Productions. But whatever happens, The BBC will no longer have any say-so on the running of Doctor Who. From the moment they did the deal with Russell, Jane Tranton and Julie Gardner of Bad Wolf Productions were going to run it with Russell T Davies. That's it. The BBC will just collect the cash if Sony and Bad Wolf Productions don't lease it from the BBC, if they don't buy it off the BBC, which I think will happen by 2023. Anyway, Bad Wolf Productions are running Doctor Who now. It's as simple as that. Again, people don't believe me when I tell them this. And this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. Now, if Sony just outright were running Doctor Who instead of Bad Wolf Productions, I'd say, that's worrying. But, you can trust Jane Tranter and Julie Gardner. They will do the right thing. So I wouldn't worry about this. So no, Sony at this point don't own Doctor Who. Bad Wolf Productions at this point don't own Doctor Who. But it could happen very quickly by the time Russell puts pen to paper for the 60th anniversary special and his brand new Series 14. Things are changing. Piers Wenger said things were changing. Piers Wenger is no longer in charge of Doctor Who as, the Director General, is that what his title is, of the BBC. So hearing this yesterday, this was very interesting and exciting for me. Why? Because Sony have the funds in terms of, owning a majority stake in Bad Wolf Productions to back Doctor Who on another level. So this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing, and this is what's happening. As we go further and further into the future and closer to the brand new RTD2 era, Doctor Who will go from strength to strength, and it will be pulled further and further away from the BBC's grasp. As I say, this is really, really good. Russell T Davies, as we've already said, is an out and proud gay man, but look what he did with the Doctor and Rose. This was a white actor and a white woman having kind of a Tumblr relationship in the TARDIS. So Russell T Davies isn't necessarily going to throw a lot of the propaganda we get today. So, but obviously times have changed since Russell was running the era. It's become, very political in the entertainment industry now, and I'm sure now and again he will bend the knee. But, in terms of his choices as the Doctor, it will be interesting what he does. Will it be another woman? Will it be a woman of colour? We'll have to see how far he stretches kind of people's faith in him. If it was me, after where Doctor Who is right now, I would go for a tried and trusted, at least, male person. It doesn't have to be a straight white male. It can be a black male. It can be Indian. It can even be an Asian male. I don't mind any of that, although that will be controversial for some. But I think when you're going for Ollie Alexander, I think Ollie Alexander is exactly what Doctor Who needs. And you may not see the Doctor in him right now, but you mark my words. Once Russell T Davies and his writing is done with that lad, he will be a great Doctor. And as I said on the top of the show, this is what's going to attract the kids and everyone back, and the families back to Doctor Who. Ollie Alexander is exactly what the future of Doctor Who needs, and this Sony deal with Bad Wolf Productions is exciting, and it's not a negative, and if I were you, I'd be very excited for the future of Doctor Who. And just to finish off, yesterday I read a couple of paragraphs from an interview from Stephen Moffat on the Doctor Who magazine, and I thought this is what sums Stephen up, because his season could be somewhat inconsistent and he could be controversial. I've called him the Zack Snyder of Doctor Who before, but I think this is very, very interesting. Let me give it a read to you. Treat it like you own it is what I'm always telling people on Doctor Who, writers, directors, actors, everybody. We are not tending to a mausoleum. We are making a real living, breathing TV show. Part of the controversy, of course, that comes with Stephen Moffat. One that must change, yeah? We know you're obsessed with changing, and surprise and break every rule it can find. Drama, not dogma. It's hard sometimes, harder than I mostly let on, as fans go, and I'm still more a fan than anything. I'm pretty dogmatic. Change makes me whimper. Continuity keeps me awake. I'm still working on my definitive answer to unit dating. I don't know whatever that means. It was a tough choice, but I've opted for Joe Grant. Sorry, Corporal Bell. So what I really want is a script that makes go, no, you can't do that. And boy did I. Toby took me at my word and shot my face off. He's talking to the camera. I thumb sucked at the top of my voice. He's never done that before. Is this allowed? Of course, fanboy brain woke up with a grubby notebook of lists and a profound air of personal isolation and started whining at me. In fact, within the actual show, he lectured me. The Doctor has done it at least twice before, in the 1965 Christmas special and the Feast of Stephen. William Hartnell wished all of us at home a happy Christmas, and oh God, I would so love to see that moment. And in The Invasion of Time, Tom Baker complained to the audience that the sonic screwdriver wouldn't open this door, in a manner that suggested he was annoyed at the script's lack of inventiveness on this point. So yeah, very, very interesting from Stephen Moffat. And why I wanted to read that to you is this really sums up Moffat as a person and as a creative. He's a fan. He has a vast imagination. And what he's talking about is fans when they say, you can't do this, you can't do that. He's talking about always breaking the rules, always changing things. Now, his mentality didn't always work. And ultimately, his era of the show probably in a lot of ways ended with a whimper rather than a bang. But I've explained the Stephen Moffat era of Doctor Who to you. He really loved Matt Smith. The casting of Matt Smith inspired him. And one of the things that broke him, and you could tell once Matt was leaving and once he left, was that his whole kind of vision for the Doctor was through Matt Smith. He had a bigger story to tell with him. And when Matt, Karen and Arthur left, it totally broke him. And you could tell, Capaldi was a great piece of casting with great potential, but you could tell creatively Moffat had lost his mojo. It was obvious, and it was very sad to see, because this is a really passionate storyteller and an even more passionate Doctor Who fan. But it's just great really to hear his passion for Doctor Who still being there. This has been the Doctor Who Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. I will be back tomorrow with even more Doctor Who. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more Doctor Who Daily. Until then, goodbye.